We've all heard it before. We need to build relationships, okay? You need to build relationships with your estate agents if you're wanting some of the best deals. True advice, it definitely is. So I'm just out and about now this morning doing a few of our touch base visits with estate agents in our local investment area, reminding them, sorry, that we're still active, we're still investing and so on. But it then got me thinking really this morning, after being in about three or four, that maybe some people obviously watching this channel, watching this video now, are a bit unsure about what to talk about, or even maybe a little bit intimidated going into estate agents, especially if you're a brand new beginner and so on. You might be a little bit unsure about what to say, what they may think about you, and you coming across not as professional as you'd like to. So I've just scribbled a few things down now in between me going into the offices, the shops, and so on. And hopefully this video will help a few people along in their journey. Now, before I forget, if you watched any of my videos before, thank you very much. But if you haven't, do me a favor, please hit this subscribe button for us, please. I'll give you 2 or 3 seconds to do it, because about 75–80% of people that watch the videos are not subscribers. So do me a favor, please, especially if you're looking to gain value from the video and looking to improve in your property journey, please hit the subscribe button. Right, anyway, so a bit unscripted this video, so I'll see how we get on. So this morning I've been out and about. We've got it as down of our systems really to touch base with agents in this area every 6 weeks. So that pretty much means that we go into the shops, just remind them that we're still active, we're still investing, and again asking if they've got anything on the books or likely to have on the books quite soon that we may be interested in. Now, before I get into obviously the full nuts and bolts of the video, we need to understand, especially if you read any of my blogs or anything like that, D to V, direct to vendor, that's the key to the best deals that you're ever going to get, unless you pick up an absolute bargain in an auction. However, if you're a beginner watching this, an aspiring property investor, maybe the auction scene isn't for you just as yet. It depends on your risk tolerance and obviously your access to funds and capital and so on. But yeah, D to V is by far the best source of deals because you're missing out on the agent, and again, you're managing to build that rapport one-on-one with the vendor, the person selling the property, and again, it can hopefully be a win-win situation. Whereas when you're dealing with estate agents, obviously they've got an interest in getting as much out of you as the buyer as possible. Anyway, let's get into it then. So some of the things I've wrote down on here, estate agents are still key. So our portfolio is probably about 90% boring, vanilla, buy-to-let type of stuff, okay? I'm an advocate of buy-to-let. So yeah, you're going to be familiar with all the flashy strategies, or not flashy, but, serviced accommodation, HMOs, title splits, let's flip for 50 grand profit and so on. There's so many ways you can make money in property. There definitely is. I'm not saying my way is the best. However, for us, B-triple-R and then getting it just onto a standard buy-to-let is fantastic for what we're looking to achieve. So again, if you're looking for it in the long game, we purchased a property just before the 2008 financial crash where we purchased three. Didn't negotiate on price, overpaid, pretty much did everything wrong. Was in negative equity for 5, 6, maybe 7 years, thinking, why have we started this property investing journey? However, here's a silver lining. One of the properties that we purchased for 60,000 back in 2007, really early 2008, is now worth, we had it valued last year, we didn't want to push it too much, at 120. It's probably worth about 140, that property. Another property we purchased for 100, that's now easily worth 220. So what I'm trying to get at there is you should be thinking about this for the long-term benefits, the long-term gains, definitely. Anyway, let's get back to this video. I know I jump around a lot there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Do me a favour. So yeah, you need to make sure that you're going into estate agents and coming across professional. Now, by that I mean, look what I'm dressed in here now, just a jacket, polo top, that type of stuff. I'm not saying going in a three-piece suit or your best, formal attire, but go in looking reasonable. And the main thing is, after you've left, you want them to think, oh, he or she was nice, they come across well. We'll have to think about them in the future. And I'll get onto other points to make sure that they do think about you in the future. But that's your main goal. You don't want to have left the office and then think, another one of those investors, been on a crash course, they've been on a course, they've watched a YouTube video. You want to make sure that you're coming across honest, approachable, reliable, professional, friendly. Those are the things that are going to help you, because you'll hear, especially a lot in business, but in property as well, B2B, B2C, is it business to business or business to consumer? I tell all my mentees it's P2P, okay? It's person to person. People deal with people that they like, not people that they don't like, okay? So you want to make sure that you're starting to build that relationship. So what would I do if I was starting again to build relationships? And again, we've done it over the years as we've started to expand our investment area. You want to go in, look nice, look friendly, be friendly, should I say, but ask them things, tell them what you're after. Now, don't go too niche. Don't say, right, well, we're after a two-bed terrace on this particular property. We're not going to be paying any more than that. Want to make sure that at the end value, we can rent it for this much. We're doing the BRRR strategy. We might even ask the vendor if they want to do a lease option, but if not a lease option in EDC, you don't want to go down any of that route. At first, your main aim is to build rapport and then to get viewings booked. That's it. Now, I'm not saying you're going to book endless viewings with no intention of taking it further forward, but it's a numbers game like most things are in business. So I always talk to my mentees about stats and so on. It's crucial to measure your numbers, especially when it comes down to refurb costs and that type of thing. But you might go on 10 viewings, you might offer on one or two or three, one of them might get accepted. It's about just every viewing you go on, every estate agent you speak to, you're taking it a step further forward and you're building on your experience. So when you're going into an estate agent for the first ever time, don't say I'm a property investor and go in with cookies and biscuits or donuts or whatever. Now, there is a time and a place for that. So when we've purchased properties before of certain agents, I'll always try and tick that guestology box by dropping in a handwritten thank you card, maybe some chocolates, flowers, a little hamper, whatever it is, just to let them know that we care and thank you very much for obviously getting this over the line. But when you first build in introductions, for me, it comes across a little bit false. That, however, if you're that type of person and that's pretty natural as to what you do, then obviously go for it. So you might want to go into the agents, go, hi, I'm just after properties, really, two beds, need a little bit of work, need a bit of bringing up to date, modernisation, that we then looking to hopefully rent in the area as well. So, do you have anything on your books like that at the moment? Now, if you notice, I didn't go in saying I'm only after two beds, only after this particular street. I'm not going to pay above this, and I also want a 20% deal on it. And then I want to make sure that I rent it back through you, and I also want you to do me a discount there. That type of stuff comes later down the line when you start building that rapport. At first, it's about you coming across, and I've said it lots now, professional, friendly, welcoming, know what you're doing, and you've got an idea of the properties that you're looking for. Now, for anybody that's a bit more experienced, hopefully he's doing that stuff anyway, you should be looking at properties thinking, what's the angle I could get from this? If it's a 3-bed, could I split it and make a little mini more, 4 or 5 beds? If it's a 2-bed terraced, could I possibly create a third bed? I might need to shift the bathroom downstairs. Some people do that type of stuff. So it's about you looking through it through different lenses, I suppose, really. I hope this is helping you with something so far. So the three that I've been into this morning, I'm lucky enough that I know them. In fact, one of the agents, probably a couple of years ago, just threw me a set of keys and said, go and have a look yourself if you want, because we've bought off them before and they trust us, and hopefully, it saves them a little bit of time. And for us, and for us as well, it shows that they trust us and that we're, I suppose, reputable. Really, that's what we're after all the time. Other things on my list here. Different agents are going to treat you differently, so just be aware of that one. Sometimes, and it's you go in, they'll be absolutely friendly, nice. Oh, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Is anything on the books at the moment? Are you after more of your particular criteria? However, some of them, when you go in, they will look at you as if you're interrupting their day. When I always used to tell my team, when you've got a client in front of you, when you've got a customer in front of you, they should be 100% your focus. That email can wait, that phone call can wait. If you've got somebody in front of you, you want them to understand that you're, if you've got somebody in front of you, sorry, got a little bit sidetracked then. if you've got somebody in front of you, it could be potential new business. So you want to make sure that, you know, they understand how valuable you are, but just be prepared for some of them not really to give you any time of day, really. Now, that might only be one person in the office, but if you go into a small, I'd call it like a family shop, you know, they've got a one branch or they've got two branches, those are always a lot better at the customer service skills and the rapport, because they realize they're not a branch, a massive branch of a chain of 10, 20, 30, 50 shops where other shops can cut, you know, make up the slack and so on. Their numbers are going to be tracked every week, every month, hopefully. So again, I don't know if that's provided any value to anybody. I know I've waffled on a little bit there. Like I said, it was an off the cuff video. Just thought while I was out and about this morning, it might help a few people along their journey. What else have I got there? Oh, I forgot to mention follow up as well. When you've left the shop, they might remember you for another few hours. Fantastic. They might remember you the day after. However, you need to touch base with them and keep on top of them all the time. So with that now, you want to make sure that, you know, 4 weeks or 6 weeks, ideally really 4 weeks later, you should be sending them a how's everything getting on, anything that matches our criteria type of email. On the first day you've ever met them, you should be sending a thank you very much for spending time with me. I hope we can do business in the future type of thank you card or handwritten letter. Okay, try and go above and stand out when it comes to other investors. So it's always easy to drop an email, but does that email really stand out in their mind? So if you send a thank you very much for meeting you today type of letter on the day that you met, so they receive it the day after or anything like that, you've elevated yourself amongst others there as well. So again, I hope there's been a little bit of value in this video. Have a little bit of an elevator pitch sorted. Be aware that, you know, it's about building rapport, building relationships. It won't happen overnight, but like most things, it takes time but doesn't take a lifetime. And the best thing to do, again, what I tell all my mentees, try and practice maybe outside of your investment area. So, you know, if you're brand new to this and you're thinking, how can I get better at it? I'm a bit scared that I might burn my bridges in my local area. Travel half an hour, 45 minutes away from it, wherever it is, go to 2 or 3, 4 shops, speak to them, and then obviously you'll realize that your confidence levels will massively increase, and so will your skill level, really. So listen, make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you've watched until, you know, 12, 13 minutes on now. Give the video a like as well. And if you're serious, okay, and I'm talking serious there in the fact that you want to invest in your mindset, you want to invest in your knowledge, you want to build your wealth, build your passive income, you know, build your cash flow, then check out the website. My name is Dervish Dervish, so check out the website dervishdervish.com and have a look on there. Maybe apply for my Black Belt Property Academy, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, but good luck. Keep getting up, keep showing up, keep taking steps further forward, and every day compound those small daily wins. Okay, you might not notice anything after a day, after a few days, after a week even, but as the months pass by, you should be getting further to where you want to in your life. Okay, like I said, if you think you can or think you can't, you're right either way. Keep investing in this mindset. Last little push again. Please make sure you've hit the subscribe button, because I need to make sure that people are valuing this content, because we'll keep producing it. Keep taking steps forward, everybody, and I'll try and keep the camera straight next time. And I'm off to the next one now. Hopefully, they might have the deal of the century there for us. Good luck. All the best.